chomp it up. They Ember Cleaved it. They got around our counter spell. Wave lethal. Hey there. Welcome back. Thanks for taking the time out of your day to watch Hello Good Game. It fills my heart with joy. Whether this is your first video or you've been part of the Wolf Gang for a while, I appreciate every individual second that you decide to spend here with us today. Speaking of today and this video, we're looking at the #1 ranked Mythic deck right now. I don't know if you're familiar with the Krows. This is a very popular Twitch streamer. You guys should check him out. He reached Mythic rank #1 with this deck. I'm going to have his info in the description below. So if you're going around snooping, I'm sure I'll have his Twitter, so you can just follow him there. That's the easiest place to really keep up with all of the different content creators. With that being said, we go on a tear within Mythic. 100% win rate, winning every single match against other top decks, not even breaking a sweat. This deck and brew feels so strong. It is a best of 3 deck. We've kind of, squeezed it into best of 1, and, it's competing at the highest levels. And, typically I'm not a big control player. I don't thrive playing control, but it just clicks. It feels right, and I'm speechless, right? You can literally see that I have no words to describe how good this deck feels and plays. So with that out of the way, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe to help support the channel. You can go ahead on Twitch, Patreon, YouTube, and by buying your day-to-day goods through our Amazon link as well, if you've got the deep pockets, as the kids like to say. With that out of the way, let's break down the deck. We're going to talk about the strategies, the synergies, the playlines, and interactions that you're going to need to know to thrive within Ranked. Thanks again. Let's get into it. Again, massive shout out to Krows. Hitting Mythic rank #1 is a serious achievement. It takes hours upon hours of dedication, concentration. No easy feat for anyone who's accomplished that, not just Krows himself, who's done it most recently with this amazing Sultai list. Sultai is the color combination of black, blue, and green, which showcase some of the strongest cards in the meta right now. Let's break down the deck list, and then we'll get into some of the strategies and synergies. First up, you'll notice we have an 80 card deck with Yorion as our companion, an average converted mana cost of 2.8, and 32 lands in the deck. We only have 5 creatures and 43 non-creatures. This is a good indication at how control-y the deck is, because we have almost no creatures to really operate to win the game dealing damage. We really just like to get all of our value and then, win with non-creature spells. But with that being said, we do have some really cool creatures within the deck. We can start out with those. 1 copy of Pokranos Unchained, a 0/0 that enters the battlefield with 6 +1/+1 counters on it. It escapes with 12 +1/+1 counters on it instead. The escape cost is 6 mana, plus exiling 6 other cards from our graveyard. You can use the fight ability for 3 mana to have Pokranos fight another target creature, which is really cool. So not only is this a very big body late game to hit your opponent down with, but it's also a very nice form of creature removal, because you can just sink in 3 mana to remove creatures one by one, which is really, really nice. Moving on to the rest of the creatures, we have 4 copies of Valki, God of Lies. This is a 2/1 legendary creature god. When Valki enters the battlefield, each opponent reveals their hand. For each opponent, exile a creature card they've revealed this way until Valki leaves the battlefield. We can pay X to choose a creature card exiled with Valki with converted of mana cost of X. It has to be exact, and Valki will become a copy of that card. Take note that if you exile a card like Pokranos, it's not re-entering the battlefield, it's just a 0/0. So you really want to make sure that you're not taking creatures with power and toughness 0/0, because then if you use the ability, your Valki will just die, and that's really sad. But how awesome is it to get someone's Kroxa or something like this, a very good creature from their hand for you for later, please and thank you. And of course, while we're here, we may talk about Tibalt, the Cosmic Imposter, one of the strongest planeswalkers I've seen in a little bit. This is a 7 converted mana cost, 5 loyalty, static ability. As Tibalt enters the battlefield, you get an emblem with you may play cards exiled with Tibalt Cosmic Imposter, and you may spend mana as though it were mana of any color. We can use the +2 ability to exile the top card of each player's library, -3, exile target artifact or creature, and -8, exile all cards from all graveyards and add 3 red mana to our pool. This planeswalker is not a necessity to our victory, but it will take what is already a very strong control deck and use an X factor. This is the factor that I would say Robber of the Rich has. The ability to play your opponent's spells is exceedingly good, and it will give your deck all forms of new capabilities, which is nice. So even though we've only got the 5 creatures in deck, we also have the ability to play our opponent's creatures through Tibalt's exile abilities, which is really a lot of fun and very powerful. With that out of the way, that's all we have for creatures in the main board. On our sideboard, or the companion, we do have Yorion the Sky Nomad, a 4/5. When it enters play, exile any number of non-land permanents. They'll re-enter on our next end step. This is absolutely busted. I can't believe this card has survived this long, but hey, it wins games, right? So when we have cards as the companion, we have to follow a deck building rule, and in Yorion's case, it's having 20 more cards than our starting total would normally be, or minimum, which is 60, bringing us up to the 80 cards, which is a bit of a sacrifice, but it really pays off thanks to Yorion's massive ability. We can bounce a lot of things within the deck. Some of the most important would be the Mazemind Tome. It's an artifact for 2 in which we can tap it to scry 1, adding a tome counter to it, or a page counter, I should say. And then we can also pay 2 to tap it, putting a page counter on it, drawing a card. Once there are 4 page counters accumulated, you'll sacrifice it and gain 4 life. We use Yorion to bounce the Mazemind Tome to reset the counters back down to 0, allowing us to scry more, getting rid of the negative consequences to running an 80 card deck. 32 lands can be relatively inconsistent at times, but if we have the scry to support the 80 cards, it really pays out in our favor. With that being said, we have Omen of the Sea ×4, also at 2 converted mana, as the enchantment. When it enters play, scry 2, draw a card. Of course, it has flash, so it enters on our opponent's end step if we don't use our mana. And we can sacrifice it later on for 3 mana to scry for an additional 2, which we typically won't do unless we've already bounced it with Yorion. We only have 1 copy of Yorion in the deck, so if we've used it already, we're not going to be rebouncing our omens later, so we can first bounce them and then sacrifice them. As far as other creatures and or permanents we like to bounce, Binding of the Gods is a good target for Yorion as well. Not only will you destroy target non-land permanent again, which is great, that is anything except for a land, but you'll also get to search your library for a basic forest card, putting it into the battlefield tapped, then shuffling our library. This is very, very nice, helping us really ramp up, and more importantly, pulling some of those lands from our library to make our draw of non-lands increased. With that being said, pulling forests will allow us to pull our triomes. We've got the Ketria Triome, which is a forest island mountain, and we also have the Zagoth Triome, which is a swamp forest island. It's very nice to pull these triomes with your gods because it comes in tapped anyways. However, if you do get to the late game, you already have all of your mana assembled, the triomes have a cycling ability, which will allow us to pay 3, discard it, draw a new card. This is really good for us to utilize instead of playing regular forests. So, if you need the triomes for your mana, yes, take them, great play. If not, just take your forests so you can main draw your triomes and cycle them away with your extra mana. A little bit of a pro tip there. Moving on, we don't have anything else in deck that we like to bounce. It is all just forms of control. Whether it be the Cling to Dust for graveyard control, instant speed for 1, exile target card from a graveyard. If it was a creature card, you gain 3 life. Otherwise, you draw a card. Not only is this survivability against the aggro decks through the life gain, but it will also really help through the draw if we need. The main point of the card is neither of those things. It is simply to control the graveyards, whether it's your graveyard from your opponent interacting with it, maybe Zagrath or something, or just rogues in general, right? You know, or your opponent's graveyard. Maybe they have an Elspeth Conquers Death or other forms of recursion that we don't want to allow. With that out of the way, we have a lot of counterspells in the deck, starting out with 4 copies of Disdainful Stroke at 2 mana, instant speed, counter target spell with converted mana cost 4 or greater. This is very high value. Countering any spell for 2 is great. And then for the baby spells, we've got Jwari's Disruption, instant speed for 2 as well, counter target spell unless its controller pays 1. It's an MDFC, which means it has the land on the back side, coming in tapped, adding a blue source to our pool. 4 copies of Negate, instant speed, counter target non-creature spell. We mentioned Omen of the Sea already, and now we move into our removal. Typically, I like to counter things that I cannot remove. This will come full circle when we start talking about our strategies and synergies, identifying our opponent's deck, prioritizing our removal, etc., gaining card advantage, and winning the game eventually. 4 copies of Eliminate at instant speed for 2. Destroy target creature or planeswalker with converted mana cost 3 or less. This is amazing to take out, you know, anything an aggro deck has to throw at you. It's also really good for taking out cards like Crawling Barrens in the control matchups. 4 copies of Heartless Act at instant speed. We get to choose one. Destroy target creature with no counters on it. Remove up to 3 counters from a target creature. This is really nice. It can be relatively pesky if your opponent is able to put counters on at instant speed, however. We talked about Valky. We talked about our tome. Let's break down the Soul Shatter now. Our first and only 3-drop. 2 copies of this in deck at instant speed. Each opponent sacrifices a creature or planeswalker with the highest converted mana cost among creatures and planeswalkers they control. This is my favorite removal spell. It's from Zendikar Rising. It will take out a Dream Trawler. It will take out a Terror of the Peaks without the damage triggering. You know, it takes out Elder Gargaroth. It takes out Ugin. It does it all. Soul Shatter is absolutely amazing. Moving forward, we have 2 copies of our Extinction Event for 4 at sorcery speed. Choose odd or even. Exile each creature with the chosen converted mana cost. 0 is even, of course. We talked about the bindings, allowing us to destroy something, grab a force, and then giving all of our creatures Death Touch, which is irrelevant. We talked about Pokranos, and we do now have our Shadow Verdict for 5 at sorcery speed. All creatures and planeswalkers get exiled with converted mana cost 3 or less from the battlefield and the graveyard, which is really quite nice, cleaning up any aggro matchups, any graveyard recursion that they may have. This is what I call an absolute rogue killer. And finally, and certainly not least, 4 copies of our Shark Typhoon, an enchantment for 6, and whenever you cast a non-creature spell, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying, where X is that spell's converted mana cost. It has cycling for 2 plus X, so we can sink any amount of mana that we want into it, and whenever you cycle Shark Typhoon, create an XX blue shark creature token with flying. That is, you know, very, very good. Whether we're using this late game when our opponent's top decking as our win condition, or we use it just instant speed as a body to prolong the game. With that out of the way, we do have 2 islands, 3 swamps, a single mountain, 2 forests, 4 Clearwater Pathways, 4 Darkbore, Slitherbore Pathways, 4 Barkchannel Pathways, 4 Ketria Triomes, 4 Zagoth Triomes, and the 4 Fabled Passages. Passages are nice because they thin your library of the lands, allowing your non-land percentage draw to increase. That's the deck list. Let's break down the strategies and synergies here. As any control deck, your overall strategy is to make the game last as long as possible. This is through the removal, this is through the counter spell, and, you know, through general card advantage gains. This can be done through taking 2-for-1s, like Extinction Event, like Shadow's Verdict. It can also be done, you know, just by playing better cards at the right time than your opponents or something, right? So there's lots of different ways to gain card advantage. That's a different video all on its own, but that's what we want to do. We want to make the game last as long as possible, get into turn 5 plus. That's where the game starts actually. Turn 1 to turn 4 is just surviving, making sure you get set up. The matches really don't start until turn 5. Think of it that way, right? So you'll start to excel and hit full stride between turn 6 and turn 10. And it's no worries if you have long games. That's actually a really good sign that you're on the right path or direction. With that being said, once the match starts, we know our overall game plan is to survive, make the round last a long time, to get that card advantage. Now that we see the round starting, our opponent plays a land, we can identify what deck they're playing and prioritize our removal spells and disruption, because we don't want to be using a Disdainful Stroke on a Elder Gargaroth when we can use a Heartless Act on it, right? Because Heartless Act can't counter an Embercleave, for example, right? Whereas a Disdainful Stroke can. So we really want to make sure that we're prioritizing our removal and our disruption, so we're hitting all of the appropriate cards in our opponent's deck, and that's done by identifying what deck they're playing. This should be done by the first land, if not the second, and certainly by the first couple permanents that they play of non-land origin. This is something that, again, comes with time. Moving forward, I want to back up a bit. We talk about our draw hand, right? We get our draw hands before we even know what deck we're playing against. I like to have all of the colors available, right? That ensures that you're not bricking on colors. And then I really like to have 3 land in a control draw hand. If you have 2, that's okay, especially if you have some form of scry. A tome can help you scry for that 3rd land. An Omen of the Sea can help you scry for that 4th land, right? In those 2 situations, having 2 lands in your opening hand isn't better because you have the scry. It's fine, right? So if you have 2 lands plus the scry, okay. If not, you really want 3 lands, and having all of the colors is even better. That's basically all I look at for the draw hands. And then if there's some early game removal, that's great as well. But the scry is most important with the lands, and of course, a little bit of removal in case you match up against an aggro deck. You can't know your opening hands perfectly, but you can kind of use those guidelines to get the best ones. So you've got a good chance, once you've identified your opponent's deck, you can move forward. Today we're playing best of 1, so I'll also prioritize having something like an Extinction Event in my hand, so I know we can reset the field, because in best of 1, there are more aggro decks, right? So that's something that we can identify as a pattern and try to work around, take it from a bad place and mitigate it into something a little bit better for us. So that's kind of the general setup, right? And then once you're set up, you are doing all those things, you're gaining card advantage through your draws, you're removing, you're countering appropriate spells, the game goes on, your opponent now is top decking, you have lots of cards in your hand, hopefully you can play some of your win conditions, you can play Tibalt, you can now start playing spells from your opponent's deck, you can play from yours as well if you need, you can play your Pokranos, get those big damage hits in, you can even make a Shark, or you can hard cast Shark Typhoon and then cast on top of it if you're safe to do so, and it shouldn't be that hard to get the win once you establish full control. It should be easy. You even have Yorion, a 4/5 flyer, so really your game plan is identify what's going on, try to start prioritizing your draws to the appropriate tools for the situation, and then survive and get a win con out. It should be as easy as that, right? Typically control is really overwhelming, but it is not so bad if you can break it down into those little steps. With that being said, you guys, thanks for watching my deck breakdown. I hope you enjoyed and learned a little bit how to play not only control, but more specifically, Krows' Sultai control list, in which he hit Mythic rank number 1. Big congratulations. As far as I'm concerned, I don't have that perseverance, at least yet. One day we'll get there, don't worry. And yeah, make sure to like the video and subscribe to the channel to support. You can also go ahead above and beyond, straight Scrooge McDuck in it, with Twitch, Patreon, YouTube, and our Amazon link. Thanks a bunch, you guys. Make sure to download Magic the Gathering Arena Assistant if you're on Windows for free. It's really cool. It's got metagame analysis, so you can see what decks are being played by all of the people, so you can learn what to try to take advantage of. We see the aggro decks, right? So that's why we know we need those Extinction Events opening hand. Really cool things and more available to you guys with that. We get our draw, so much more. You'll see it in the left. Take care, enjoy the gameplay footage, make sure to watch to the end, because we've got not only great matches with a 100% win rate in Mythic, but we also have some exciting news to wrap up. So we'll see you soon, and enjoy. Alright, when we look at this hand, we can surmise that it is trash. Just absolutely garbage. So we mulligan. This looks a lot better. We'll keep 6. Yorion probably means no creatures. Shadow's Verdict can go. We had some pretty funny memes posted in the Discord while I was sleeping last night. Someone must have cropped a picture of CGB and then a picture of me, and was having quite a bit of fun with it. Oh, shoot. So we've already got a green source, which we don't need a ton of, so let's just get that Tome in play. You know, this is a green source as well if we need it, so we can kind of hold off. We've got another Triome as well, but I wanted the Tome in play on curve, and then, you know, we can hold up Disdainful Stroke. I'm not sure Heartless Act is going to be relevant at all. Maybe. We'll take our first scry here. More black land. Land's not bad, but we already have quite a bit of it. Another Triome sitting underneath of it, so I'm glad we cycled it. Pass our turn. You know, they're not countering, or we're not countering because they're not playing anything with CMC 4 or greater yet. Okay. Let's just take that out. Decent. We can take our scry here as well. Another Triome. Wow. Stop it. Passage is nice, but why don't we... How important is it to counter their next drop? And we might just want to cycle this as well. Let's pass our turn. Yorion can stay there. Let's hold up the counterspell, and we can always draw or cycle. I think that's our better bet. Now they're playing slow, so the counter's irrelevant. Birth of Malatus is fine. Let's cycle this Triome. More land. Take our scry. Well, I do like that. Nervous! We don't have enough mana. Are there other creatures? Should we just look at their hand for foresight? Right? Yeah. Let's just take a little peeksies at their hand. Okay. Jeskai control. 5 damage. 4 damage to all non-giants. And they have their Elspeth, which is annoying. And Narset. So, they've got a nice hand. Luckily, you know, not too much hits Velki. Let's get Yorion over. And then I'm going to leave the Tome at 3, because we don't need the life gain, but what we need is more scrying. Okay, so that's unfortunate, right? There's no way around that. They do lose their defender, but they get their God of Battle back. Which is basically irrelevant, isn't it? Let's pass our turn. I mean, I want to play Yorion, but we shouldn't really play it until we can counter that Elspeth Conquers Death. And, you know, out of all the spells they have, it's not Narset that we counter, sadly. It's that Elspeth. Unless we don't ever play anything for the Elspeth to target, but then they can still play it with no target and get it back. Right? So, we definitely need to deal with Elspeth. Right? Like, this is something we probably should counter because we don't have any other way to deal with it. But, we're sitting on 6 mana. We could potentially draw 7. Yeah, we just draw. Doesn't quite do it. Counter this and try to pull more counters, or just leave this hit. Oh my gosh. We're gonna try to find an answer for that, Elspeth. So that's fine. They must have like Skyclave apparitions. Pass our turn. So I think they might be tempted to go right in with Elspeth Conquers Death now and try to bounce it with their own Yorion. There's only 2 other cards in their hand, but they have their castle in play, which is kind of hurtful. I mean, we're just drawing if not. Exile all creatures and planeswalkers with 3 or less. Elspeth is 4 converted mana. Oh! Should we take the draw or bounce it? Take the draw or bounce it. Take the... Okay. So, we're gonna make it through this, I think, only because we have all these tomes, which is really good for us. You know, trying to just kind of patiently outweight our opponent. This Omen of the Sun is good for them. Right, it gives them those attackers. The tokens don't get returned to their hand. But I can't allow them to equip. I can resolve this. Sure, bounce your stuff. That's very good. Yeah, it won't be dying. It will be getting exiled, so that should be fine. Let's take our draw. They're out of mana, so we can just kind of do our do here. Let's take another draw. Get hit in the choppers for 2. Yorion is odd. This is instant, but this has to resolve. Let's hold up the counter magic. End our turn. We've got 8 life in the tomes already. Omen of the Sea is annoying, but whatever. Yorion's been exiled, so that's a big win for us. We have a full hand. That's a big win for us. Lots of good cards in our hand as well. We're at 6 mana. Here's Narset. Okay. You know, it's annoying and I hate it, but... Well, what if we just... I'm actually going to counter it, and I know this is bad. We've been preaching about Elspeth Conquers Death this whole time, but we have Clink to Dust. We can just take those cards away really easy. Alright, 3, 4... That's a bit of damage. Yeah. Let's grab some of that back. Disruption, I don't think is relevant anymore. 16 life. We clear their whole field. So they've got no targets for Elspeth Conquers Death. But they're still going to take it, at which point we'll attack their graveyard. Another Omen. Maybe they've got more Yorion's main deck, and that would be terrifying. Let's take our Scry. That's perfect. Yep. Your go. It's got to be the worst thing in Magic, right? When your opponent just draws, passes to you. They do have the, you know, token. That's nice, but we have a shark. Wow. Definitely countering that. Could you imagine if they got that off? Nice. That's pretty cool, right? We have a bit of mana available. They're foretelling. Let's take the damage. Let's get in there. Narset, you're coming to me.
I need some time alone.
Take the draw. That's great. Let's take another draw. Oh, Maya's in the studio, but the camera is not on her. Our turn. We've got plenty of plenty here. There's nothing in their hand for us to take. I can't play the shark. We should just eliminate that token, I guess. Pass our turn. That's 2 turns in a row we've just passed. With a full hand, full mana. You stop it. Alright, let's take that token. Let's take that Narset. So now Elspeth Conquers Death is kind of useless. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So now, I guess we just cycle the shark and attack. Let's take our turn. I can't believe we don't have enough mana to play Yorion and protect it with a counterspell yet. We have to discard here as well. I guess let's Valky. There's nothing we're taking, but it's in play. It's out of our hand. It costs only 2 mana. Right? So now we're not discarding. And it actually kind of plays with its token. Let's end our turn. Alright. My bad on the resolve here. Just had to set up Maya's camera. Let's just take it again. I mean, burning through our eliminates. Ouch. Our turn. There's the land we needed. Yorion can bounce everything. We get back in their hand, and we have a negate to protect us. Man, Yorion's so broken. Oh, gosh. I like Yorion matches when I also have Yorion. Maybe I would like rogue matchups if I also was playing rogues as well, right? And I like mirror matches in general, I find. Really, really fun. Or like similar decks, at least. Like, I guess this isn't a direct mirror. Pretty dirty mirror at that, but... yeah, I don't care. I mean, it's good. We have 15 life, though. If we don't negate, we have the draw within the tome. Yeah. So protecting Yorion. trade it up. Taking a scry or two. Interesting. Madami's Prophecy. Okay. I can get behind that. Scry 2. They've got 56. We're at 52. Just starting to hit the full stride now of a Yorion match after a measly 16 minutes. They do get a draw engine within the Prophecy, though. Not bad. Let's take their draw away from them, though, I think, right? Pass our turn. Yorion can block. This feels weird. Omen of the Forge. No, they're gonna kill our Yorion. Nice. That's being greedy. That's being greedy. Yep. Yeah, there's worse things. Like pulling 2 lands in a row. Could you imagine? Oh, go. Oh, no. I guess we'll take the scry here as well. More land. Lovely. Our turn. Another land. I guess we should have taken that final scry. Let's be greedy. Let's take basic forest if we can, and then if we pull those other ones, we can scry them away because we already have so many lands. That's our turn. At Castle Ardenvale is so hot right now. That must be a Doomscar. Cycle for 6. Take the block. That Castle Ardenvale and Sword have been really keeping them in the game. Birth of Meletis, okay. First scry. Another land. Second scry and our opponents not having it. They're like, this is taking way too long. I like when the Yorion player concedes because the match is taking too long. Oh gosh, what does that say, right? Going first, another Yorion matchup. Should be fun. Our hand is so awkward. Where's the tomes? Where's the tomes at, right? 2 negates is really bad too. Where's the tomes at? Where's the tomes at? I keep this hand because of the Triomes. It really activates all of our cards that we want. Hello, good game. Let's send out the Heartsies. Wait for our opponent to log into our Twitch stream. It will just be one moment, ladies and gentlemen. To the bottom of your screen, you'll see a like button. Go ahead, turn that blue. You also find a comment section if you have any thoughts or opinions throughout your experience. I'm HGG, and I'll be your captain today. I'll be your pilot. How about that? Even better. Things are looking well on location or destination, and we do have a little bit of rope on arrival, but we'll quickly see that clear up as we move into the middle part of the match. Gulp. Make sure to like, comment, subscribe, share the channel to all of your friends, support financially on Twitch, Patreon, YouTube, and even by purchasing your day-to-day goods through our Amazon link. I appreciate everybody who's gone out of their way so far to help out the channel. You're absolutely amazing. This is the Yorion rope. Absolutely love it. I wish all of my matches were like this. That would be a good experience. I think I would really enjoy playing the game. All right. Now let's let our rope run in reciprocation. Now that our opponent finally has our Twitch stream loaded up through the delay, they're here. You know, let's say hello. How are you doing today, Octo? What's up, bro? Ready for a Yoriano match? Because I am. It's your go, bro. You gotta love the fan base, right? Typically, this would really frustrate me. I'd get really mad. It makes for bad content, which all of those things, right? But, you know, I mean, it does signify that I'm on the right path, right? And I know a lot of content creators on YouTube will not record their videos live because of this very problem. And I don't think we're really worried about anything, but I also don't want them in our hands. I'm not sure they'll get in our hand unless they play a black source here. And that's tapped, so, you know, we're fine. A lot of lands, which is quite awkward. And we're just passing. Draw, pass, draw, pass. Play land, draw, pass. Play land, draw, pass for the next 20 or so minutes. Buckle in, grab some popcorn, and most importantly, enjoy yourself. Okay. We have Abzan Yorion, which is the color combination of green, white, black, and Yorion. And we are Sultai Yorion, combination of blue, green, and black. We've got a little bit of red for Tibalt, but that's it. That's the only thing. Let's pass our turn, right? We've got lots going on in our hand as far as disruption, so I'm not too sure what our opponent has planned for us, but we can probably shut it down. Right, that's going to be the first option. If we don't counter it, they just take a counter from our hand, so it's positive value. Tome in play. We love that, right? We only need the green source for 2 cards, so there's really no need to play it. Let's just stack black. Pass our turn, drawing off the tome if we don't counter spells. Alrighty then. We'll just take the draw now. More land. Okay. There's nothing we can do to stop that. Unfortunately, its cost is only 3 mana, so it gets around us. Blue source in Blizzy. Now, I guess we can let that apparition hit us for a little bit before we go in to remove it. And is this when it dies? No, it's when it leaves the battlefield. So we can exile it as well. Oh my gosh, more land. We are at 8 available mana. We could play this and protect it. Play for 5, 6, 7 to protect it, 8, 9 on our opponent's turn. So not quite yet, because they have open mana on our turn, so they can remove it now, untap, and remove it again. So we need 2 counters available. Another Elspeth's Nightmare. That's kind of upsetting me that we're wasting our negates on that. But, I mean, it is better. Because they're going to take it or something of higher value anyways. They're debating on whether they counter my negate, but not worth it. They know we're trying to pull their counterspell at this point. Right, you can see them kind of hesitate on our, like they did on the negate. They were thinking about it, and then they also thought about it on the event. So, you know, at least this puts us in a situation where we're now aggressing, and it pulls out their removal. It's not worth protecting. Just let them take their turn. Let's pass, thin our library with the passage. Pulling out a blue source here. Pass our turn, start running Cling to Dust. Which, you know, it's a pretty early game. I don't know how far we'll get with it. They have Elspeth Conquers Death again, which I find incredibly annoying in Yorion decks. I guess. Okay, Heartless Act. That's alright. We need more cards in our graveyard in order to recast it. And we do kind of want to save it for its utility. Whoa! They just discarded an Elspeth Conquers Death. Plot thickens. Well, this is a match of Magic. They are discarding. Wow. Passing our turn. Oh, they have Eerie Ultimatum or something? They're using an ultimatum to bring everything back from the grave. That has to be it. Tome in place, nice. Pass our turn. They're kind of bricking, I think, is the thing. That's just 6 mana, so, I mean, maybe not really, but it feels like it a bit. I can't believe they take our tome again. Back-to-back tome steals. They're holding in there. They're doing a good job, that's for sure. I mean, we do come out of it with a 2-2. Let's kill that. Actually, and so I don't want life. I want the draw. Let's take their Elspeth Conquers Death. That's the best card there. Stolen for the draw. Alright. They could remove that, I don't care. Land in play. Pass our turn. 11 land, 7 in hand. Could this be any worse for them? Easy counterspell here. Omen in play. Good game. I'm out Yorioning Yorion players. Look, CGV, I can do it! Going first is pretty cool. Hand looks nice. How much do you love Binding of the Old Gods? Am I right, you guys? Great card, or what? Mulligan off the start. Interesting. Oh, Maya's taking up the screen. And here we go. I have 3 cats in the studio today. Maya, Simba, and the ever elusive Nala. I should get Nala on camera. I don't know if you guys have seen her. I'm not sure. She's doing her own thing. She always does her own thing. She's very independent. Mono red. Mono red. Yuck. Let's just take our scry now. More land, but do we need more removal? I think so. Ooh, we're taking 4 damage here. Be serious. Take a black source. They get their 3/1 still, which is annoying and I hate it. More land can go. Yeah, we have 3 cats and 1 dog. The pet food is an expensive tab around these parts. Bone Crusher in play, okay. This is an enchantment, so it actually doesn't target the Bone Crusher as a spell. It targets it as an enchantment, which is cool. Spells are on the stack. More removal. Heartless Act is great. Oh no, does this trigger after our draw or before it? Because we shuffle because of it. That's gonna be an awkward situation. No, we draw first. Perfect. Triome in play. We have 3, 4, 5, 6 available mana. We could cycle as a 4/4 shark. Pass that turn. I'm just scrying for the life. Up to 11. Are they on an Embercleave? That's the question I have. Take 2 damage here. I'm not proud of it. Trying to pull an Embercleave. No, really. Land in play. Cycle for 1. We could have blocked. We should have blocked the Shark Typhoon. I was worried about an Embercleave, right? Which would have just like went around us as soon as we spent our mana away from the stroke. Okay. Straight up Frostbite. Okay, at least we know that was their last card and they're top decking. Yorion over, because we need a creature next turn. Pass our turn. We've got our shenanigans. We take the damage. Moment of the Sea. We have a stroke. I feel like I'm having a stroke. What is that in their hand? Why wouldn't they have played it with 6 untapped mana? It has haste and they want to use it next turn? Let's put it to the bottom. Want to take a creature for life gain. Up to 6. Eliminates perfect here. We don't have enough mana for both. How many lands did I bottom? You know what I mean? Let's pass our turn. Play a patient game if we can. Okay. That's 3 CMCs kind of annoying. Let's kill Rimrock. Let's grab some more life. Back up to 7. Event on odd, we still have our stroke. We should sneak this disruption in soon. They've got too many mana. They're all 3 drops. Pass our turn. Kill Annex. If they Ambercleave now, they get 2 tokens. Wow. Another Bonecrusher Giant. I think that's their 3rd. It's annoying and I hate it. I bet they're still sitting on that cleave. Alright, we have the blocker. Stroke stops the cleave already. That's nice. That is very nice. We still have counter magic up. I'm worried about haste, so we don't attack. I'm gonna hardcast the Shark Typhoon. That's why we did not attack. LOL. Really? They're banking all on this draw. It was a land. Thank you for taking that off our library. You're too kind, Robber. Perfecto. Our turn. That binding's really nice. I don't often hardcast Shark Typhoon, but when I do, I know it's gonna win the game. Okay, another Robber. Another land. Lovely. Okay. Yorion, you are just doing everything I need you to. Start attacking. We're on the clock now. We have instant speed through Soul Shatter. Pushes our grave up into a Cling to Dust. This deck feels so solid. Like, it's not fun. Our turn. Let's take our hit, cycle the Triome away. Of course, on our opponent's end step. End our turn. Triome gets cycled. We get the draw. And then we cling the Robber for life because we're so low. Back up to 8. We also get a Shark for 1 mana. Right? Little 1/1. Look at that little guy. Little chump blocker. We can go all in. Okranos stops most mono red decks in their tracks. This is the longest mono red match I've ever played. Like, they are really putting in every effort they can here. Okay, that's 1 damage. Let's chomp it up. Oh, they Ember Cleaved it. They got around our counter spell. Wave lethal. GG's. 100, you guys. There is no doubt in my mind as to why this is the #1 ranked Mythic deck right now. Woof. So this deck is good. I like it. It feels kind of like it's got, like, you know, when you play a sports game, they call it a handicap, where, you know, you need to typically give yourself a leg up, right, by reducing the penalties of the game. But it's like a negative, right? It's like the deck is so good that it has some installed handicap to it that we need to take it down a notch. It doesn't feel fair. Is this what Yorion players feel like all the time? No. Is that why I always see Yorion on ranked ladder? No. It can't be. Say it ain't so. Is Yorion gonna survive Monday's ban? No. Shots fired. I don't know. It's a good card. I'd like to see Tibalt's Trickery go at least at a best of 1. Best of 3, sure, push your luck, but best of 1. She's got to go. Yorion's pretty cool too, I guess, but as far as other cards, I don't know. What do you guys think? I only play Standard. I get Historic by osmosis or, you know, whatever. it's assimilating over here, but mostly Standard. So what do you guys think of bans across the board, no matter what format it is? Leave me your thoughts and opinions as to what's coming our way on Monday, because I'd love to know, get a head start. Maybe start fixing some of my decks, I don't know. The whole world will end. It's like the economy will crash if Yorion gets banned. The whole MTG world will just come crashing down because everyone is just playing Yorion. Nobody will know which decks to play anymore. I hope CGB will be okay. All right, you guys, I've been having too much fun today. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share the channel to all of your friends. Word of mouth is one of the greatest ways to help support me along this journey of, expansion. And if you're Scrooge McDuck or just general moneybags in general, you can support financially on Twitch, Patreon, YouTube, and our Amazon link. Do all of your day-to-day shopping through my Amazon link. It's only 3%, so we need you to be buying a lot. All right? Take care, you guys. Enjoy another video on me, and I'll see you in just a few seconds.